2004, she joined Cirque du Soleil in their casting team, traveling the world auditioning extraordinary talent and scouting new trends in performance and design. In 2012, she was named director of the Creative Lab at Cirque du Soleil Media. She led a team in developing projects destined for the international TV, film, and new media markets. Jillian now works independently as a creative producer, senior advisor, and consultant. And of course, one of her biggest clients is Cirque du Soleil. Please help me welcome Jillian Farabee for an interactive session.
Hi, how's the mic? Is it good? No. Oh, I can't feedback. Okay, good, yay. So interactive session, originally my idea was to move the chairs away and we were doing clown exercises and all kinds of stuff, which I have done in the past. But considering the time of day and what's coming next, we keep the interactivity to minimum. I'm going to put my little troll here. It's going to be like my avatar. At the end, people can, if you want to ask questions or offer your ideas for her name. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, the people on the edges and moving in towards the middle, turn your chairs a little bit more towards the center, towards me. Because I personally find when I'm sitting in a room at the edge and I'm really facing the screen or, kind of just a wall, I like to have the sense that people are moving inward. And you'll also see each other more, which is one of the things I learned at Cirque du Soleil when you have a ring in the circus, is that you see other people experiencing what you're experiencing, and that already creates more connection in the room. So even you can just take your chair and turn it like 10 degrees towards the middle. Yeah, I can feel it already. The clicker. So I've never seen, there's like a palm tree or something. I guess this is a go. So interactivity and play. As what Cheryl mentioned, I'm from the creative side. I am just amazed at what you guys do, listening to your stories. I would be terrified. I would be in my pants. If somebody came up and said to me, like, match the Missoni, match the... I mean, when someone says match with a show, I'm like, yeah, lots of ideas. But the whole selling campaign thing, it just blows my mind. I participate all the time, but I think it's amazing what you guys do, so hats off. What I'm going to talk to you about today is an idea that's been brewing in my mind for about 10 years. When I started at Cirque du Soleil, I was in casting and scouting. We did both. And so I spent a lot of time on the shows all around the world. And I watched people literally transform while watching the show. There was one woman in particular, Paris. The show was on what used to be the Renault factory, like an island that was sort of out of Paris. You had to take the subway, and then you had to walk over this bridge to the island, and then you had to walk through a field to the tent. Because it had just been, the island had just been liberated. I speak French like half of my life, so liberated you would say in French. But I'm thinking liberated is a bit heavy. But anyway, the land had been freed up. So if liberated, I'm like, yay! The island is liberated. And there was one woman who was sitting next to me, very, very put together Parisian, did not want to be there. Someone had bought her the ticket, and she had very high heels, and she had had to walk from the subway, because there's nowhere to park your cars, and then through this field, and she was just pissed. And then by the intermission, she sort of said to me, why are you sitting by yourself? Well, I work for the company. And she was like, I'm not sure that I understand it, but I think I like it. And then by the end, she literally looked like a 6-year-old child. And that night, they did 6 encores. So the artists come out, thank you, back they go, back, oh, thank you, back they go. Then they take off their masks. But by the 6th time, even the artists were like, can we go home? And I realized that everybody in the tent was a show called Corteo, and perhaps the island was part of that magic, the journey. Everyone just didn't want it to end. They were clapping because they didn't want it to end, including this woman. She turned to me afterwards and she took my arm, like she touched me, which in Paris, it's like affectionate. And she touched me and she said, I don't know what you're doing. I don't understand this show. My brain feels like this, is what she said, which is, I think, right, left brain, maybe. I haven't felt like this since I was a child. Please keep doing whatever you're doing. So this happened many times, and I started wondering, what are we doing? I'm sure you're all familiar with that. Like, yes, we love the campaign too. How can we do that? Right? And so I've been paying a lot of attention to some of it is even neuroscience. I'm sure you guys have been getting lots of information. Neuroscience is very hot these days. What was happening with people were being stimulated proprioceptively in the show, the fact that there were no words, so your left brain is less engaged. But essentially it came down to people were playing. They felt the environment was playful, the imagination part of the show was intact. You come into this world, you don't understand it, but it obviously makes sense with itself. The world acknowledges you. This is very important. How many people here have been to a live Cirque du Soleil show? Nice. That's a high percentage. How many have been to a show in a big top? Okay, and how many in Vegas? So you know that at the beginning, there's artists in the audience. So you're just waiting in your seat and something could happen. Someone could come and acknowledge you or not acknowledge you, but kind of step over you. But generally, amongst the people at the beginning, there's one or two people who come up and say, hi, this is not using language, but this is our world. We're glad you come. We're waiting for you. We have something for you. You're going to love it. So they acknowledge you. They break the fourth wall and say, hi, you've come to our world. So something about that imagination and playfulness was transforming a lot of people. And the people that really became the ambassadors. Cirque has a very, very high brand love number. You know, it's up there with Harley and Mac and all of that. So what I want to share with you today is my insights that happened over these 10 years around play, and I did more research on play, and how play is deeply at the core of what an interactive relationship with an audience is. And I think it translates, if you guys will tell me, into the relationships you're having now with your people. I was told not to say customers, people. Yeah, so you're people. You guys are my people right now, and then you have people. And I do think it translates, because with the interactivity and the platforms these days, really you're having an ongoing relationship. Go back to views. At Cirque, actually, there is something called Save the Show. So every artist, even the athletes, have to think of something they can do that will save the show. Because when an accident happens on the show, there's a 30-second, you just keep going until somebody tells you what to do. So I never did the exercise, but...
How many Cirque du Soleil productions are there going on currently, and how are they all tied together? How do you build a brand for so many different disparate experiences?
I think at the moment there's 21 shows going on in the world, and with the Darks, it ends up being about 18 shows every night. How do we make a brand with the disparate? That's a big question. Actually, I was having dinner with a couple of people last night, and there was no brand director at Cirque. I had been there 6 years. And the company was about 25, 26 years old, and there had never been anyone who was actually in charge. Here we go. Thank you. That's what it should be. Yeah. Woo! For the easy guy. I probably should have noticed that the first slide was different, but this is the right one. And so this is a whole new concept. It was a really great conversation I was having last night, because when they brought in a brand director, this might be of interest to you guys, for the people in the creative, in the studio and in the costumes, you know, anyone kind of not in legal or things that were more functional and logistical, we didn't really understand what they meant by brand. Like literally they were like, so, you guys are a brand. I'm like, we make shows. They're like, yeah, but you're a brand. I'm like, we're a company that makes shows. And then, you know, at one point it was sort of saying brand is people's impression about what you're doing. But for a lot of artists, you know, they don't really think in those terms. Like, you know, I was giving the example, Picasso, you know, I don't think he went, oh, you like the drawings with the bull? I'll do more of those. What did you like? You know, so artists don't have that understanding, but the company was bigger and people understood that somebody was paying for the shows. So it was an ongoing process, still is. They did lots of research and created brand pillars, but some of you are going to relate to this. One of the brand pillars was deliver the unexpected. So when someone says, we want people, we know why they come, we know why they love the shows, we want them to keep coming, so keep doing that thing that they love, one of which is surprise them. So you're like, but we want us to do the thing that they are expecting, but one of those things is to not do what they're expecting. But I think what's happened over time is it's somewhat esoteric and somewhat concrete. Like you need acrobatics, There was a long time at Cirque where there was a debate were clowns part of the brand, which was like hours of debate. Do there have to be clowns in the show? So that's my answer. The brand director probably has a few pages of offerings. But I think it comes more down the people that have worked there, because it's a company, it was a blue ocean company that was created by itself. The people that have been there a long time just kind of knew this is and this isn't Cirque. And that's what happened all the time I was there. Okay, interactive creativity, engaging through play. Here's two of my close friends who are great players. This is the main thing that I wanted to share you guys that I learned, and this is a friend of mine who said this, but it was what I was learning for a long time when I was watching people watching the shows. Attention is the currency of all relationships. So we know that about personal relationships. If you're long distance, there's not enough attention, right? Going on back and forth. Skype can only look like attention so much, and you can't even look the person in the eye. So, but if you think about it, this is how much attention do you give to your partner, how much they give to you. Lots of studies about couples have shown that the more they turn towards each other, literally turn when the person has something they want to share, the more that couple has a chance of succeeding. And so I also had this experience with Cirque. Cirque gives a lot of attention to the audience. We acknowledge them a lot. We say, oh, we know that you're here. If you have something happening in the center of the stage, there's always characters on the outside that if your attention drifts from, let's say, you're not really that into juggling, and there's a big juggling act, and it's going to last like 8 minutes, right? Well, if you start to wander off and leave that world and think about your grocery, there's a character, right? I don't know if you guys have noticed this. There's a character, their job, I can tell you the backstage part, is to sit here while the juggling's happening and watch for people's eyes that are wandering. And if your eyes wander, if they think you're bored, they'd be like, me too, juggling. And that brings you back. Or if it's a bossy character, like, so you can't actually leave that world, but also they are acknowledging that you're there. So when I started moving up in Cirque and was spending more time with people who were doing the marketing and the brand, they kept talking about hits and eyeballs and all the numbers about how much we had our people's attention. I remember asking, well, how much attention are we giving them? How much of our attention are we giving them? So this is of interest to me. I mean, we do through providing places for them to play and to contribute their ideas or their versions of costumes, but really how much attention are we giving the people whose attention we're asking for? And so that's one of the questions that I want to present to you guys. So at its most vibrant, attention is a flow. Somebody said two-way street this morning. For me, it's more like a current. It's more like an electrical current. So your relationship with your people needs to be kind of flowing all the time. And especially in my eyes with multi-platform reality now, they have access to you and your stuff and information about your stuff pretty much any time they want it in lots of different ways. And are you also paying attention to where they are, how much they want you to listen to them? So, and the most sustainable relationships are based on creativity, wonder, and play, as it has been this first time. And I say sustainable, I underline that because we can create relationships through adrenaline, excitement, like sex, fear, danger, all the things that will get people's attention. But for it to be sustainable, and this is something that Cirque du Soleil discovered over years, the thing that really brings people back over and over is creativity, wonder, and play. And they need to feel that what around them is creative, but also that there's some element of their own creativity. Awe, wonder, awe, it's just being like, wow, and some sense of playfulness. And sustainable because the other forms of excitement, if you like, and Cirque played with this, acts where everybody's just like, oh my God, there's some of the acts, one is called Wheel of Death. Ever seen it? They're not hooked to anything. It is a wheel of potential death. So it's that exciting, but you can't do a whole show of that. First of all, it's too exhausting for people. And second, adrenaline, you have to keep upping it. So I go to movies now that are action movies, and I'm like, I guess you have to be a teenager to have built up, resilience to this kind of noise and action. And my guess is that's what's happening. They keep coming back. It must be faster and louder. But at some point, that's unsustainable. But creativity and wonder and play are not. They're ongoing, basic human nature. We all love to play. And we all actually prioritize play in our life. It's what makes us happy and want to still be alive, though we don't always acknowledge it. So, what is play? Does anyone want to try? Come on, it's a knockout. What is someone just put your hand, what do you think play is? Enjoyable?
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous?
How we learn.
What?
How we learn.
How we learn. Who said that? Points for you. How we learn. That's how. There's research being done now about play. For a long time, it just fell under anthropology, psychology, but now there's research being done about play. That's what I'm going to share with you in a little bit. But what they realized first and foremost is that's how people learn. That's how animals learn, and that's actually how we continue to learn. And humans are the only mammals that have the wiring in their brain to play after adulthood. Other animals, they play to learn how to hunt, and then once they're adults, survival. That's what they're up to. We can actually continue to play. We have the wiring. That's how we do it. Is we try new things out of discovery, we play, and if you're really resilient, you play bigger because the stakes, playing needs to have stakes that are comfortable. As soon as the stakes are too high in our mind or emotionally, we shut down to survival, we're not as creative. But if you build resiliency, then I'm guessing what might be terrifying stakes to someone else are just a little bit exciting for you. Because what's the worst that can happen? You've already been there a few times. Anyway, there's parallel. So what is play? Is this play what I'm doing right now? For me it is. I don't think it is. Okay, so what is play? Play is a state. So Stuart Brown, he's the founder of the Institute of Play. He has a beautiful book. I highly recommend it, called Play. There's like a subtitle, it's long, but Play by Stuart Brown. And it's really all about what is play, how do we play, what's the relevance and importance of it in our lives. Play is a state of mind rather than an activity. And that's really important because play is different for everybody, but the state of mind of play is the same. Everybody has a play state. So here are some of the things that are present in play. A sense that time disappears, or at least the pressure of time disappears. Like how much time passed? You vaguely know, but you're not really feeling yourself in time. Whole body presence. Now that doesn't mean like when I'm playing, I'm a kinesthete, I'm a mover, so I literally feel my body. Most of the things I do, I like to use my whole body. But even if you're reading a book, you're just at ease in your body. That's one state. Comfortable states, which is what I just mentioned. It means that it has to be right on that edge of challenging and fun. But if it really feels like you could lose your job and you could lose your house and you could, then it's very hard to play because our brain goes into a very narrow survival, fear-oriented state. It's for its own sake, essentially. So that's something that is more to do with childhood, but let's say when we're doing a brainstorm, that's where this idea came in the last 20 years or so, that we come into the brainstorm and any idea flies. This part of the process is just for its own sake. There's no right or wrong. You know, that came from knowing that that would open people's imagination to play. Here in the zone, that's the flow state that there's a TED Talk of Mikhail, long name, I don't know how to pronounce it, but a really great TED Talk on the flow state, describing more in detail biologically what the zone is. You feel awake, and it's fun. So speaking of feeling awake, I'm going to suggest that all of you are kind of hunkered into some kind of position. So let's say you're sitting like this. Just change your body position. So just change your legs, maybe change your arms. And I'll ask you that a few times. Woo! A little more oxygen in the room. For that, brought some full body presence and a little bit of more awakeness. Stuart Brown, the book Play, the research he did is that there are essentially 8 ways that people play, and animals, across cultures, across history, and each of us have our top 3 of those 8. And one of the ways you can know your play style is, think about it, I'm going to ask a question for all of you. Anywhere between the age of 4 and 10, try to remember what your favorite activity was. What was that thing that you would do anytime someone would let you? Somebody put their hand up? Oh. Was that your hand up? Yeah, go.
Skateboarding, and I still do it.
There you go. Anybody else?
In the pool with my dad.
In the pool with your dad. Can you remember what about it you liked?
The interaction.
The interaction. Huh. Probably the sensorial also. Yeah. Sorry, skateboarding. Do you remember what it was you liked about it? Skateboarder?
Yeah.
What did you like? Can you verbalize, articulate what you liked about skateboarding?
Going fast, really the rush of like air next to my face and the fact that none of the girls in my community did it, and only boys did it, and I was kind of a bit of a tomboy.
Cool.
So she said the boys were cute, and they were
Yeah,
hot.
right. So win-win, right? Yeah.
They were hot and older, so, it was kind of like hanging with the older crowd, and as long as you could keep up, you were on an equal plane with them.
Yeah, because hanging out with older boys, if boys are what you like, is also a favorite activity at a certain point. Closer to 10, and I think at 9 now. Keep your hands, I'll give you a couple examples. If people think of it, put your hand up. Oh,
Make believe.
make-believe, so like making up a whole story. Yeah. That was one of mine. Like, okay, we're in a jungle. You're the leopard, I'm the hunter. And amazing, you would like take 10 minutes to describe it, and then you would do it for 3, right?
Acting entire movies. We will go see the movie and then we will replay the movie.
So watching movies.
Watching movies and then acting the entire movie.
Oh, you would act out the movie, yeah. So again, play, like just imaginative acting out play. Anyone else?
Doodle.
Doodling. What do you do now?
I'm a graphic designer, but
That means you're in your sweet spot. That's really important. Because this, it's fun and games, but also it's very important because what you love to do as a kid is connected to your play style and your favorite play state. And if whatever you're doing now resembles that, you will have a much better chance of being happy and not burning out. Because sustainable, things that we like to do, you wake up in the morning, you have energy, by the end of the day, you have no more energy, but it wasn't that bad. The things that you love to do, you will still have energy at the end of the day because they regenerate, they're regenerative. And then you have to sleep because we're in bodies and we need to sleep. One of my friends, he grew up in New York in a tenement building, and he would go down, took sticks from the outside, and he would go and play the pipes in the basement. And then he became a percussionist. I was actually a make-believe. We had a big closet in our house that was full of clothes that grown-ups didn't want anymore, and you just like shove it into the closet. And I would pull it out and dress up my brothers, and I would actually go into a public park and act out these characters in public. My parents didn't know. I mean, there's so much less helicoptering. Like, just go up and say, yes, I'm the Queen of England. And I would like do it for 10 minutes. So then I became an actor. Has anyone else thought of one?
Legos.
Legos, so building things. And what was it that you liked about it, do you know?
Having something in my imagination.
Physical form in 3D. And what do you do now?
I'm a strategist.
Not a strategist. It's kind of like that. You do strategist.
Building stuff.
Yeah, I mean, strategy is in 3D. I mean, ultimately, it's not you strategize for, but you also have to pay attention to everything around it. Does anyone else remember? Oh, yes.
Dance.
Dance. Yeah. What do you do now?
Well, I'm in digital marketing, but I'm a runner.
Yeah. And there's also going to be a click to that as we go more in depth. Is there anyone else?
I'm going to have to say Barbies.
Barbies. And what would you do with the Barbies?
Be the boss and always look great, and the house was always tidy.
Oh my God! And what do you do now?
My favorite thing is mom, but yeah, a strategist in a design firm. So
Yeah, and organize. Are you working on the event as well?
yes.
Yes. So organizing things. Organize Barbie's house.
Yeah, I used to take apart the way they gave you the toy, like the camper van, and take the kitchen out and lean it against the wall, make an apartment or a condo. So now it all makes perfect sense now.
Yeah. I have a woman that I work with. She was my boss for a while, and now we work at a creativity leadership school. We did this exercise. She never thought about it. She used to, when her parents left the house, she did it secretly, so she waited until she had a babysitter. She would go into the bathroom. She would paint like a beard on her face with lipstick and all of this, and she would do talks. She was like 8, and she'd be like, today, we're going to talk about color. And she would do these presentations, and then she'd have to clean it all up and make sure the lipstick didn't go down too much, and and now she teaches and does conferences. But I was imagining this 8-year-old like, so today, we're going to look to the mirror. And she, to this day, she practices her talks in the mirror still. Okay, we'll keep thinking about it. This is great fodder for networking, cocktail conversation. So if you get more, find someone and share. So these are the 8 play personalities. I'll go through them briefly, and then we'll do each one a little more in detail. And what I'd like you to do is, as I'm going through them, see if you can figure out which are your top 3. And then we're going to do like a hands up afterwards. So the Joker isn't necessarily a comedian. It's someone who relates to the world by seeing what's funny. So all the clowns at Cirque du Soleil, this is who they are. They're always looking for, it can be sort of pathos funny as you get older and you get to understand the full spectrum of life, but you just look for the humor in this kind of crazy thing we call life. It's that sort of attitude. And you might make it your career as a comedian, but it's the joke or the class clown, the guy in the company who's when you're getting knocked out, thinks of that dark humor joke, and levitates things. You don't say that, right? In English, lightens, levitates. Imagine a guy levitates in a meeting. That's funny. And the next one is the kinesthete. So the person who said dancer. Kinesthete it's not necessarily an athlete or someone who does, a kinesthete is like kinesthetic body. It's people who like to play with, they like to feel their body engaged in any form of play. So I was a dancer for 10 years professionally, and it's not just that, my senses, somebody was talking about a marketing campaign with, I think it was Keel. Once again, the French thing, but Keel, yeah. They were saying, that you can smell the things and touch them, and people come in and they put this stuff on. And so if play for you involves feeling things with your body or trying things with your body. The explorer is anybody, does anyone here, I'm a big traveler. My favorite thing when I come to a city like this for a conference is I just get up early in the morning and I walk and I don't know where I'm going. As long as it's not like a dangerous neighborhood. I get the basics, but then I just want to go somewhere and stumble onto something and discover like people. I've been holding this whole time. That is crazy. I'm going to give her a break. The people who they had to find them, and so people who like to discover things or explore things. Explorers like to learn new things, and they get bored in the same job because they're not learning or exploring anything new. The competitor, this is specific, came up in our dinner last night as well. Competitor is people who really have fun when it's competition. And in fact, if it's in your top 3, you really kind of need there to be a competitive edge to anything. So my husband has this. He was almost a pro hockey player. I don't have it. We all have them a little bit, but you have your top 3. I can compete if I need to, but it's not fun. And I go to see the hockey games, and I'm like, but why does somebody have to lose? And look at the goalie, they all skate away, and he's just there, like he failed everybody, Or I'm like, it's a ball going in a net. Can we go home? But my husband loves it. And he will compete, we're just driving from our apartment in town to our place in the country, and we'll leave at 12, it's 12:07. I'm gonna get there at 1:42. He's I'm like, babe, it's Sunday, we can get there. No, you see, I will get there at 1:42. Because he likes to have something to push up against that's time or space, and specifically other people. It's not almost fun if you can't count it or feel up against that competition. So as a competitor, director, well, probably a lot of people in here have that. It doesn't mean you're bossy. When I used to direct our plays at home, I was very democratic up to a point. But it isn't actually the bossy part. It's that you like to kind of be the person that's overseeing, holding the space for many people for an activity. For being in charge of a big project of which many people are participating, you have an overview. That's the director. The collector, I also don't have this, but I have a girlfriend who has 300 pairs of shoes. I think that's a collector. She can't even wear them more than a couple of times a year. But also people, collect, even in gaming, collecting powers and avatars. There's people who collect other people. I have a friend, she's still in touch with everybody from grade school. How are you doing? And she makes sure to see them. And she just likes having her, people you would have dolls as a kid, So it's great. It's those community people. That's anything that you like to amass comparable things. The artist maker is not necessarily aesthetic. It's 3D. It's building. You like to make things with your hands. And the last one's the storyteller. I think everybody in here knows what that is. It's somebody who sees life through snippets of stories. And so my friend who told me about playing the pipes when he was a kid. It was like a whole conversation, but I'm like, oh, here's the story. He played pipes, he became a percussionist. Ding, story. So, you're seeing things in stories. Now, before we go into everybody in the room, my sense with Cirque, and then I've been thinking about it more and sharing it with you guys, just putting it up to see how it resonates in your world, is it's important to know the people that you're relating to, what you're trying to reach, what is their play personality. So if you're in gaming, you know that most of the people have competitor, collector, maybe storyteller, maybe explorer, depending on the game. And so knowing that about the people you're relating to, you can direct your interactive relationship and exchange based on their play personality. What is going to bring them to the table to play? And we all don't have a lot of time in our days, in our lives these days. We're all really busy. And if we put aside time for play, the relationship with our favorite brand, we want it to pay off the way we want it to play. And I think it's also very important to know what the play style is of your brand and of the people on your team, especially if you're doing creative work. Because we had this conversation last night too. There was a brainstorm, all the different brainstorm things that have come up over the years. One is you play with plasticine. Has anyone done that one? If you're not an artist maker, which I love that, but it's not one of my top 3, like people who do crafting, or artist makers, scrapbooking, I'm in those things and I'm like, what's with the plasticine? And I make a sculpture, but it's not doing anything for my ideas. But if you ask me to explore something new, get together with people and you ask us a random question, oh, what are we going to answer? That I love. So if you're working with your team, you have to understand what engages them as well from the point of view of play. So let's go through them one slide at a time, and I'm going to ask if it's one of your top 3 to put up your hands. So, the Joker. Yeah, it's usually like 5%. Jokers are, if everybody was a Joker, who would be laughing, right? You need an audience, right? This is my friend Michael, he's one of the clowns at Cirque. So this actually happened. We were just sitting around, I'm shooting a VR thing actually, and the guy on the right, you can see, he was the producer, So Michael just happened to be waiting, and he looked at him and was like, imitated him. So it's pretty imitative, the Joker. The kinesthete, so dancer, again, anyone who, put up your hands if you're a kinesthete. Very valuable if you're on a team in communicating with people, because it's not that common, but it's very impactful. If you give kinesthetes something to do, because we spend so much time sitting, spoken from a kinesthete, change your body position. Change your body position. That's you guys. Yeah. So I was a major fidgeter. I happened to go to alternative schools because my mother's a designer and she started an alternative school, very creative childhood. But I need to move to think and to learn. So when I'm in conferences like that, I'm usually at the back. I need to move when it's time to learn something, like literally do this while I'm listening, because I need to move my body. I get much smarter. I think I was lucky to go to alternative schools, and I skipped 2 or 3 grades, and I was identified as gifted. But in a regular school, I think I would have just, fallen off the map, as they say. So kinesthetes in our world today don't get much fun. So we sit in cars, we sit in offices, so if you can access and give them anything to do, these friends of mine run a design company called Daily Tous les Jours, and they create these interactive spaces, kind of like the Japanese dancing, those things where you dance in a pattern and you follow it, but they do these in public spaces. They're hired by cities and municipalities and governments to create interactive public events, and they do this thing, the musical chairs, it's going around the world right now, you swing on it, it makes music. They just, huge numbers, because people can come and play with their bodies. The explorer. Yeah, I'm seeing like 40-45%. In creative fields, almost everybody has explorer, or has a high percentage of their top 3. The competitor. Oh, wow. I think it would be more. Okay. The director. Yeah. The artist maker, design. This is actually, I got to have a day-long tour at the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena. This is the prototype for the Mars landing. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? I was just like, this is like a piece of jewelry. It's gorgeous. So that's one story actually that's very interesting in the playbook. So Stuart Brown, who's the world expert on play, Institute of Play, he gets brought into companies sometimes when the creativity is in a kind of evident lull. So there was an issue at one point at NASA, the 70s, the 80s were the total heyday of space travel and ideas, and in the last 20 years after that, even though they were taking in all the top students from Stanford and everywhere, they weren't getting the same level of innovation. And he came in and he did play history and basically found out that everybody had Maker in their top 3, but they'd all been going to school from a very young age and actually hadn't really played in 3D very much as children. So I have a brother who's an artist, maybe he's a designer. He went and like saved up his money to buy an old broken motorcycle so he could take it apart and put it back together. Right, that's a maker. A friend of mine, she remembers her brother, they were kind of poor. Dad saved up and bought him a broken lawnmower, wrapped it, motor, put it, under the tree. He was like, oh my God, a broken lawnmower motor. And he played with it for like 6 weeks. Well, they found that all the people that were at NASA, and they come in the last 20 years, the younger generation of scientists and mechanical engineers, and they hadn't done much with their hands. They learned all the theory and the techniques, but they hadn't just played. And that was part of why their brain wasn't wired to really innovate in their field. So they worked with them and did a whole play recovery process. So, yeah, he did a program for 6 months and just had them playing with stuff, building it. They created shops where they could work, and the brain began to wire. So that's the good news. You can recover if you have a play debt. The collector. Anybody here a collector? Yeah. Collector, strangely, not strangely, but you think so much is based on collecting, but actually people who really like collecting is also quite rare. The storyteller. Yeah. That's my grandmother. That's me and my 3 brothers. And she used to make like this crazy, she used to smoke a lot, she'd make these monster sounds, and I still remember it to this day. So, this is the last part that I was just sort of hinting at, and that is that we all have our play history. So if you had a healthy childhood, you weren't in trauma. My mother grew up during the war, so from 0 to 5, there was quite a bit of trauma in with the play, but then she had lots of play after that. Or let's say that you grew up in a town that had lots of sports, but they didn't have like auto shop at high school, or they didn't have theater, you might not actually stumble into what you love until, I'm thinking of your story, all the things you tried, until you're somewhere that you can actually express that play state for yourself. So we all have play history that has its things that we're encouraged, that are part of why we do what we love, and we know that we love it, and other things that maybe we want to make up for. So if you potentially have a play debt, it's happening to some degree as a general trend. I'm not saying everybody here with kids does this, but it's a general trend that we're over-occupying our kids and putting them into very serious states quite young at school. And so they actually are discovering that children now have a physical and creative play debt. So there are children who are having accidents at like 7 and 8 years old just from going upstairs or downstairs because they haven't developed proprioception, like how to measure what you have to do to jump over something or step down because they're not moving enough. And also we notice that in creativity that because it's all about memory and then pass the test, memory and pass the test, there's not enough totally free playtime. Kids aren't discovering what they love and all the creativity that kind of flushes out of that happiness. So there is what they're calling a play debt, and they're calling physical literacy, play literacy, creative literacy are words in the education field. I speak at education conferences sometimes about creativity. And then the good news is, this is really good news, of all the things that we have, our sponge brain when we're young, and we find out if you didn't do it, then, sorry, your brain's old. You get told that sometimes, like, yeah, neuroplasticity, but if you weren't physical when you were young, you're never really going to be an athlete, and all that kind of stuff. Play is one of those things that you can absolutely recover it, and it is a brain wiring. Play is something that they can see what's happening in your brain when you get into your play state that turns into creative ideas, because that's what happens. All play is that you expand it out because you want more because it's fun with your cognitive brain. So my suggestion, if you guys want, is know your own and talk about them and find other people's, but also take the time to know both yours, both your play, your favorite play styles, your team's play history, any play debt that's there, and create opportunities for play recovery. There's more examples of that in the book if you're really interested in understanding what it looks like. And then yours, your company, what would you say your company's 3 play states are, or play styles are? The people on your team, and try to see if you can find out about the people, your people. The people you're interacting with your brand. What do you think, based on your brand and what you know of them, what do you think their play styles are, and how could you design your interactions with them to come from that place? such that you're playing together. That's the attention current part of it as well. And even people who play in a more introverted way. I have one of my nieces who, just kind of would read books for hours and just play by herself, and you can still reach those people because our platforms now, you can do them alone or however they want, or whatever speed or level of intimacy or collaboration. So we can relate to people all across the spectrum of introvert and extrovert. Play every day.